Alright.
Welcome.
Stay Rad Podcast Episode 3.
Trace. And there's 3 of us now. Look at that.
Whoa.
We got big
Three
homie,
amigos.
big homie Reniculous in the house.
Yeah. I should put a link to his YouTube channel.
Oh, we'll give him a little spot to say his stuff at the end, I guess.
Sweet.
Yeah, you can shamelessly plug yourself.
And
whatever I have to offer.
You got some videos.
we
got some videos. You got some videos. Everyone's got videos.
He's got Monster Hunter Try.
Yes.
He's got Splatoon. He's got a couple Mario Party videos. He's got a great channel going. So we'll do the plug. We'll do the plug.
You can sell us everyone watching better than we can at the end, because we're just like, hey, he's got videos, man. Video games. Check them out. But anyways.
All right. Intros aside, as you can see, barely maybe, Nick is playing Dark Souls in the background of his Skype call.
Yeah.
And me and Zach are sitting on the couch playing Yoshi's Woolly World 2-player. And we went with mellow mode because we figured this would be a mellow enough game for us to just chill and play.
Yeah.
Well, and Nick is like, he's in the intense game where he has to really pay attention.
It's alright, I'm grinding my way through, trying to figure out Sense Fortress.
Oh, yes, that's a fun place.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the theme of this week's podcast is the pros and cons of digital and physical copies of video games. Mm-hmm. Now, who would like to start?
Well,
should we have our special guest start?
How would you like to start? Because I was going to say, I kind of want to...
notes for this at all.
Okay,
I
we're
got
just
a
going.
I got a thing of notes about the history of digital distribution and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Maybe we should start with that.
I think it would be good to start because then it's like, get this out of the way. It's just some fun factoids I got from Wikipedia. Because I remember reading some stuff about like distribution back in like the 90s and shit. I was like, it'd be cool to like talk about that a little bit. So, believe it or not, digital distribution has been around since the early 80s.
Wow. Really?
Yes.
Oh, did it start with like early PC? No.
It started. The first one I have is for Intellivision.
What?
In 1981, it's called the Play Cable. What it does is cable TV operators send game signals on the same through the same wires to alongside TV signals, and that way people can play Intellivision games.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Oh,
so they can
crazy.
tune into the. I guess they tune into the channel that they're sending out or something, and then they get to play their Intellivision games.
Wow.
Then next up is Game Line for Atari for 2600. 2600 owners could rent using the phone line.
Oh,
and
I
a
think I remember
specialized
that.
cartridge.
I think I remember that.
Yes. And I have a side tangent here because it reminded me of something that I read in an article. You ever go on Cracked? You go on Cracked, Nick, ever?
No, I know of it.
They have some interesting articles. There's a lot of like listicles, I guess. Would you call them? Listed articles,
Yeah.
But there's actually good stuff, good info, and they're typically funny. Have you guys ever heard of the Thompson Twins? It was like an early 80s synth pop new wave band.
No.
Have you guys seen 16 Candles? 18 Candles.
16 Candles. Yeah, I've seen it.
The scene at the end when they're eating cake on the table, that song that plays in the background.
Yeah.
That's a Thompson Twins song.
I don't know if I remember it that vividly, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay. So anyways, they released a game on a 7-inch vinyl record. And it was available for ZX Spectrum and Commodore 64. And there's two ways of doing it, or two ways of doing it for ZX Spectrum, but one way of doing it for Commodore 64. You copy the flexi disc to cassette, because they run on cassettes. And then that way you put it into the machine, works. Or if you're using ZX Spectrum, you can was connecting record player's headphone socket to ear port via wire leads is the other way. But they put a game on a fucking vinyl 7-inch LP thing.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
7-inch LP, that doesn't make sense. Anyways,
That's sweet.
but and then After that, we got Sega MegaNet in 1990 and Sega Channel in 1994. Satellivision for Super Famicom in 1995.
I know the Satellivision. That was actually like the first online network for like because you could actually log onto the internet with your SNES.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like a big block. They like.
Yeah.
At the end, the SNES was supposed to be like fucking 10 pizza boxes stacked up.
If you've ever seen the N64 DD, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, where they stack it. Yeah, so it was like it was supposed to be the Famicom, and then underneath was like your internet box, and then underneath that was supposed to attach the disc drive. Yeah. So you could play the Sony or the Philips whatever. Yeah. Games underneath, and it was supposed to be this big. Yeah, it was supposed to be big.
Sega actually had
shoes.
Yeah,
another one for Sega Saturn. It was called the NetView, I think.
Yeah,
but that's just browsing the internet. That's not actually like digital game distribution and stuff like that. What else I got here? I got the Teleplay modem, unreleased. It was gonna allow online play between NES consoles. And it was also supposed to be compatible with Genesis and Super Nintendo. Okay. That was co-created by Nolan Bushnell, who is one of the people that founded Atari and Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, yeah.
And if you know anything about game studies, Bushnell's Law, easy to learn, difficult to master. So now I know there's a term for that. And Bushnell's also there was RANNet for N64.
That can't be like a thing, though. Like, can that really be his quote? Like... I want to say that
maybe not.
That's come out before.
Probably.
It feels like it goes back a lot further.
Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, he's the guy. So.
He's the man.
And I believe everything Wikipedia says.
It's all true.
And then in the 90s, they started with shareware, and that's like sections of the game. It's like when you play Doom, it's like the first few levels, and then it's like advertising for the next parts. Yeah. And then you purchase like a key to get the next parts, and actually that you could actually buy through fax. I remember reading that for some game back in the day that's like you can fax to get the rest of the game and stuff.
Like on a fax machine?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then that's the rise of add-ons and user created content being able to available for download. Mm-hmm. And then we start getting into early digital distribution with the Stardock Central. Stardock Software is a game developer. I think that's what I saw. They developed some games, and that was kind of like the first real platform for that sort of thing. Uh-huh. And then it came DrangenNet.net. I don't know how to pronounce that. DRENGIN.net. Drangen.net. They use a yearly paid subscription format, which then became TotalGaming.net, and they allowed for individual purchases or upfront fee for tokens to buy games. So that's kind of like you buying your fucking Xbox Live cards and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And they actually sold to GameStop in 2011. And then we get to Steam in 2004 and GOG in 2008. And then we got
it just takes off from there.
We got Battle.net, Amazon Digital Services, GameStop, Games for Windows, Origin, Direct to Drive, Gamersgate, Green Man Gaming, Desera.
Gamergate?
Yes. I did double check it. It's Gamersgate, and it's a Swedish company that does it. Because I was like, what the fuck? Are you serious?
Gamergate?
Yeah, but no, it's it's a Swedish company. And that is all the notes I had about digital distribution history.
What about Itch.io or itch.io? Isn't that kind of
a new one? I'm not really
digital distribution.
I'm not. Oh yeah, because they were gonna put up their games on Steam, were they not, or something like that? But they didn't
have
want...
Slither is like the new big one or whatever. It's like the worm thing. It's
like
Slither.io.
There's other kind of
Wait, we have Wink.
I guess offshoots of that kind of game, but I think it hosts a whole bunch of games on there.
Okay. I'm just gonna.
What was the one that I most recently? Oop! I disappeared.
Oh shit.
Oh wait, where'd you go?
It's like that Metallica song, Enter Sandman.
You mean what?
It's just a little joke for this fine Tuesday evening.
Okay, what's going on here?
I don't know, but it keeps making yarn balls.
Find out. My camera just turned off for no reason.
Okay.
Nice.
It's fun.
Yeah.
As I thought it turned off the...
Everybody knows what you look like by now.
What? And I'm back.
Yeah.
But
okay, sweet.
That's shitty.
Alright. That's good.
Yeah, they were like Steam was trying to shut them down from like putting their games on Steam or like opening up like a Steam store or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember reading. I don't know. That's kind of all I really know about itch.io. I'm like a little
There we go.
ball now.
Yeah. Sorry, I accidentally swallowed you. Oh shit.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Why am I doing this?
They're
Okay.
just hitting with a lot of stuff here. Anyway,
Anyways. Let's get started about let's talk about the classic, the physical.
okay.
Who wants
Start
to
with the
Who wants to get
physical.
started talking about like their feelings towards that? How about Nick?
Nick, you start with the feelings toward physical copies. Yeah.
Well, like, I kind of feel that the argument, like, if you even want to call it an argument between, like, physical and digital distribution, is that back in, I guess, in the early days of gaming, that was really the only way you could get it to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Was saying, hey, buy this console and then buy the games for it. That was the only way that you could get them. But now that people have been, like, they have their own personal computers and things like that, it's a lot more easy to share the data that makes up games. So, like, and also, like, I guess you could also bring into it sort of like, if you wanted to talk about the environment or whatever, like the impact of having a bunch of discs and all the different like packaging and stuff for it.
Like back in the day when they had everything on like 19 floppy disks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Or like even going back to like the PS1 or even some PS2 games having like multiple discs to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, like it kind of feels similar to the argument of like digital versus like actual books.
Yeah.
In that way, that like having a physical book just feels right a lot of the time rather than reading something off of a screen. Either that or we're just like still kind of in that transition phase where it's not, or it doesn't seem as like natural just to read it from a screen. And I guess with screens there's also like the thing with lights and that. But I don't know, like having been gaming since a time when like my first run-in with it was the original NES and like loading in cartridges and things like that, and now being in a time where like, you know, slipping a new game into a system can still feel like good.
Yeah.
I still understand like the attachment to it, and it's just kind of funny how like with the rise of Steam and a lot of people having just lists, like a huge list of games and never playing a lot of them. I feel like
I'm so
like,
guilty for that. I have like a huge Steam list, and none of which I bought. A buddy of mine bought me like every game for Steam on Steam sales because they're all like, you know, super cheap.
Yeah.
And I have so many games on my Steam account. I've never touched one. Oh, except for Team Fortress 2. That's it. So,
yeah,
I'm guilty for that.
And I don't know. I feel like before it wasn't so easy to have like a collection, because I feel that gaming has maybe gotten cheaper overall, or at least it's been around long enough that families as a unit can have like collections of them, even if you're not big into gaming and things like that.
Yeah.
So like having them on the wall, you know, there wasn't a whole lot to choose from and things like that, but now that you can have them almost anywhere, I don't know, it's just interesting. But I guess from a modern thing, and I guess playing like on the Wii U a lot, I found that having a disc can actually help for like data space. Because some of the bigger games that have come out for Wii U, like I haven't played it myself, but whatever the newest Xenogears or whichever
Xenoblade.
Chronicles Xenoblade,
Yeah.
right? That it like if you were trying to download it from the eShop, it was huge,
Yeah.
and that was kind of like the first Wii U game where you'd have to buy like an external like disc in order to get all of it, or to have anything else saved on your Wii U. So, but other than that sort of thing, I don't see for like PC. I kind of see physical on the decline for PC now.
Yeah.
Because it's just so easy through things like Steam and GOG and Origin, whatever else. But yeah,
Totally.
Yeah, I can
kind
agree
of
with
some
you.
initial thoughts.
Yeah, I can agree with you, especially the PC. Like, I can really see that because I really do agree with that. I think Steam has really become the powerhouse in PC gaming, right?
Yeah,
Pretty much any game that is,
absolutely.
and Battle.net, right? Pretty
Yeah.
much any game that is released by Blizzard or Valve or whatever, pretty much any game that is released on the PC is either released on Battle.net or Steam. Either one. And you pretty much, of course there are console exclusives and things like that, but pretty much every game that you can buy a physical copy of is released on Steam. So
Yeah.
and now Steam is doing like retro games too, right? You can buy older games for Steam for your PC, and you don't have to worry about buying the ridiculously expensive physical copies anymore.
Yeah. Well, as far as I know, like, if you go try to buy, like, a physical copy of something for PC, it's just a box with a Steam key inside it.
Oh,
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
There's...
I mean, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does, but it just goes to show it's like...
People don't care about the physical.
There's
copy.
really no need for
I'm
that
getting attacked
anymore.
by a cat.
Oh shit!
Nice.
What kind of cat?
Jeez.
Are you in
big
the
cat?
Are you in the Dark Root Basin right now?
No.
There's big
I'm
cats
I'm
there.
in my girlfriend's basement right now.
Oh, and
she
the cat
decided
is actually
to
attacking you.
attack me with her cat. I'm
I
not
thought
sure
you
what
meant
kind
in
of
Dark
cat it is.
Souls.
Nope. Though I know the cats you're talking about,
Yeah.
but no, not those ones.
They're not fun.
Anywho, yeah, just like a Steam key just being in the box.
Yeah.
I guess I could have a little more to say because I've been signed up to this service called IndieBox.
Yeah. I remember seeing
Oh,
And,
yeah.
yeah, the idea with that is because like the cheapest way for indie games to get out there is just to do a digital release, because like if you're just a startup, you're not going to have the money to be able to produce like a ton of physical copies and get it out to everyone, like
Yeah.
at least not until, like I guess with Shovel Knight and that, it wasn't until it was like a set-up name and people knew what it was that physical copies actually came out for the consoles and things like that.
Yeah.
But what IndieBox does is it gets in contact with the developer and basically puts a DRM-free version on like a flash key, and then a bunch of kind of like related swag and stuff to the game
hmm
in a box and delivers it to you through the mail, so you can still have that kind of collector's setup of it, like this game being on your shelf.
Yeah.
And like I enjoy it. I'm not so much a collector, but just the idea of getting like an indie game in the mail every month is kind of a cool idea to me.
Yeah. Definitely.
That, you know, getting it that way will stick out to me.
hmm
So, and I think there'd be a way that, like, I'm sure some part of the sales goes back to the developers. I'm not exactly sure how much or whatever, but it's cool that they actually work with the people that made the games to put together the like special edition boxes. So
See, it's interesting that you bring up like Shovel Knight and stuff getting a physical release now, because what was the game? Oh, it was Skullgirls. They finally just got a physical release. I think Japan only, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
But that game launched 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're just getting a physical release for it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I think they're just starting to make money on it. So.
Well, they've been releasing a lot of DLC for it lately too. I think it was 2 years. No, I want to say last year. I think it was early last year they started releasing a lot of new characters for it.
Yeah.
And I think it's really picked up a lot of steam.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's not my kind of fighting game. It's really combo heavy, and it's really much like Marvel or something like that. There's a lot of tag-ins and stuff like that. But anyway,
it depends.
Yeah,
You
can play single player.
You can play one character or up to 3.
Yeah.
I really like Skullgirls.
I think it's a beautiful game. I think it's an absolutely beautiful game. It's just not my kind of fighting game.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, talking of physical release of Shovel Knight, I really want a copy of it.
Yeah.
And they're selling it like at our Walmart, right? And it's really cheap, and it's a physical copy for the PS4. I'm like, damn, I'd love that instead of just having it. And this is really my biggest like thing about digital copies is that you can't hold on to it. And it is really like it's not a nostalgia thing, but I think it's the era that I grew up in. It's really like when you got that new game for Christmas or for your birthday or whatever.
Yeah.
You had the box and you held on to it. You're like, oh, I can't wait to open this thing.
You enjoy
sure.
the tangible experience more.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. It's every physical copy is an unboxing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, that and even having like an instruction booklet.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like now it's just like to view the digital guide.
Yeah.
Even
You
if
can
that.
either go to this website or you can hit this. You can hit like something in a menu and it'll bring up like a web browser or something, and it's like okay.
And when that started really, really coming in was actually during the last years of PlayStation. And the biggest one that I remember is Final Fantasy IX, because Final Fantasy IX had the Play Online. It was like playonline.com or whatever. And I have this walkthrough guide for Final Fantasy IX, and it's just like, you're reading through it, and it's just like, to figure out the rest of this boss, or like to learn more information on this enemy or on this area, log on to Play Online, which is of course now defunct. Like you can't actually go there, but it's like you have this guide, and you're like, why didn't you just put all the information in the guide and say, hey, you can get more stuff on playonline.com. But yeah, that's when it really started, like switching from having, I think it was actually during the PS3 when they completely nixed like actual physical manuals. You just got that little slip of paper that said like, hey, check out our website.
It was like the slip of paper doing an ad for the game. I know Telltale, they like when you open up a game of theirs, you take off the disc underneath, like the slip, like the cover slip. Yeah. The back side is just the controls.
Oh, really?
And I've seen that with like a few games actually.
That's kind of nice.
But like
that's all right.
It's kind of nice to have that, I guess. But you know,
yeah.
I do like I remember reading the manual for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and it's like describing all the enemies and like maybe some dumb little joke about them because it was the 90s.
Or it had like a map or something, like Pokemon came with a map, and there was always character descriptions with the character art, like the original character art. Like this is going. I don't know, now you can just log onto a website and it's just like, here's all the shit that you need to know.
Yeah.
But back then it was just, I was a young guy and I didn't have access to the internet like I do now.
Yeah.
And I mean, still to this day, I'd rather have a game manual in my hands than have to get up from my console, go onto the computer and just log on to some website and like read about it. Cause I'm just gonna scroll past all that crap anyway. Cause I don't know. It's the internet age, right? You don't really care. People just scroll past.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm a little biased because I'm a big physical copy guy. I'd rather have the physical copy than digital copy. Of course, ease of use with digital copies is a really big thing.
Yeah.
But really, I'm a physical copy guy, and I think I always have been. I probably always will be, but I can't really see it going anywhere for consoles, but for PC, I believe
PC is like gone.
It's pretty much gone now, but for consoles, I really can't see it going anywhere.
Yeah.
I think simply because of ease of use, and the average consumer for a console is not going to want to log on to the internet and like wait for a download that could possibly take 12, like around these parts it takes like 24 hours if you're downloading a big game.
I think that's like the big thing though, is like there are people that have actual good internet.
Yeah.
And for them it's just like, fuck yeah, let's
download it.
Let's download the shit and
yeah.
it's over, and have the game.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the big thing is like ease of, what I don't even know what use.
Ease of use.
Ease of use. That's the phrase I'm looking for. It's just like, you're sitting at home, you're like thinking, you know what, maybe I want to pick up fucking, I don't know, Streets of Rage 2 on Steam or something like that. Just
and
like,
of course you can. Yeah.
Just like go for it.
Yeah.
But it's like trying to find a physical copy of that game.
Oh
it's
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You're fucked.
And it might take a week if you get it shipped or whatever. Like
Yeah.
And of course the money is another thing.
Yeah.
Physical copies, of course, especially retro games, and especially now because retro gaming is becoming like super popular, and people just want to be like, and it's nothing against our culture now, but geek culture, nerd culture, whatever is kind of the in thing now. Like it's really the popular thing. So if you have a bunch of video games and like weird board games or I don't know something like D&D books, like people are just like, oh wow, that's cool. Just like back in my day, people were just like, get a fucking life.
Yeah. But now it's like you walk in the house, it's like, hey, I see you have a copy of Chrono Trigger on your shelf, and like, well, baby, let me tell you something about this.
So the dude picks up all the ladies with his copy of Chrono Trigger.
He like dips his glasses down and is like, let me tell you something about Chrono Trigger.
Just speaking of like how mainstream, I guess, or like how accepted, I guess, video gaming is now, is that who is he? Is it Jeff Keighley? Jeff Keighley?
Yeah.
The Video Game Awards?
Jeff Keighley is the blind guitarist.
Yeah, Jeff Keighley's the blind guitarist.
He's dead, but yeah.
Jeff Keighley is the video game guy.
Jeff Keighley.
Oh.
No, but
Anyway.
with, I was catching some of, I guess it was last year's awards, and there's just the moment where, like, Justine, I think, was interviewing Deadmau5 about the new Star Wars Battlefield game.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, what's happening? Why is this? And it's like, okay.
What is this?
Yeah. Well,
what am I watching?
I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about Miss Justine, just because
I don't know who is she?
That's the thing. Who really is she?
Because
you know what? When I first heard about her, she was just like some vlogger that had like a huge iPhone bill at one point, and that was like her claim to fame. And then now she's like, hey, I'm the Call of Duty Splatoon girl.
Is she any good at it? Or?
I have no idea. But as far as, like, I don't know, it's just like...
Wasn't it her that had, like, this video that's been laughed at for however long of her trying to play Portal 2 or something?
Maybe.
Not being able to get past the first area?
Maybe,
People
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know, it's just...
okay.
To me, what I've seen anyways is just kind of like she's just jumping onto a bandwagon, I really botched that. Jumping onto a bandwagon to maintain relevancy, That's kind of just how I feel about like what I've seen about her throughout the years. So
yeah, I don't know who she is, but I mean, there's a lot of that going on, right?
She has her own fucking Pizza.
What?
Yeah.
How old is this person?
I think she's like 28.
Oh, okay. She's my age?
Maybe 29. Maybe
really?
older than that. I can't remember.
Really?
But
like, did she have a career at like G4 or something, or was she just like she just came out of nowhere?
Well, I think she like had the iPhone bill, and then she live streamed her life, and then she was a vlogger, and now she's a gamer.
Like a gamer, really?
Yeah.
That's just like hitting all of the
Yeah.
the trendy things of the past 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, when extreme knitting becomes the new thing, I think she's gonna try to capitalize on that as best she can.
That's gonna be the norm soon, man.
Like jumping out of a plane and trying to fucking make a scarf before you hit the ground or some shit like that.
Underwater basket weaving.
That's the future I want. You know, I look forward to that.
That sounds like a wonderful future.
But,
okay, so here's one of my biggest points with physical and digital gaming.
Yep.
Both of them are a very big culprit of this, and it's space. Whether it's physical space or digital space. And both of them, like, depending on what kind of game you get, physical copies, of course, are going to take up space. Game copies, you know, they have the disc, the Blu-ray disc, or, you know, DVD cases or whatever.
Yeah.
Those take up a lot of space. And with digital gaming, it's all digital space, of course, right? Hard drive space.
Yeah.
And depending on what kind of game you get, it could be like a quarter of your hard drive space. Like,
well, the good example of that, Grand Theft Auto 5 on next-gen consoles.
well also,
because up to now,
Fallout 4, like,
oh no,
it's like 30.
no,
is
GTA 5.
is it huge? Is it that big?
When it launched for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One,
Uh-huh.
well, initially, because like everything on PlayStation 3 you had to install anyways, right?
Yeah.
On Xbox, that was one of the few games that you had to install along with putting in the disc to play it. You had to have 8 gigs of hard drive space
Just for the disc?
just for like to install assets,
Wow.
and then have the disc, and it's pulling from both.
Wow.
And I mean, I'm pretty sure that's how it works now, just to like a greater extent. But when it launched for PS4, I think because like all the updates for online are free,
Oh, really?
except like with the exception of like if you want to pay for like money and shit like that, like online money and stuff like that. So all the updates up until its launch were available on disc, and I think there was like 4 updates. So it launched at about 50 gigs.
Oh my god.
50 to 55 gigs, and it's only gotten bigger since. Last I checked, there's 65 gigs.
Wow. That is
game.
insane.
It's crazy.
Now, but that's, if you have a physical copy, it's taking up physical and digital space. Like,
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
insane. But I mean, like, to me, like, downloading Fallout 4 was just like, holy fuck, this is like, it was like 35 or 36 gigs or something like that. And I think or do I have the 500? No, I think I only have the 250.
250.
PS4, or is it?
No,
only
it's just
500?
it's only 500.
Is it only 500? Okay.
Except for the Black Ops 3 PS4.
Oh,
It's
okay.
1 terabyte.
Oh, really?
And it's ugly as sin. So
Yeah,
don't,
it is.
don't
Yeah.
get it.
Okay. Yeah. So it being 500 gigs, and then plus all of my physical copy installs, which actually aren't that big.
Yeah.
They're only like a gig, maybe 2 gigs, and that's just like updates and as you said, assets. It's installing the game so that it actually run like a functional game.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like installing these things onto my PlayStation, just like I can't buy another game if I have 4 or 5 of them on my PlayStation. Because if you're down to like 10 gigs, the PlayStation's like, I can't even install an update. Like, it just doesn't know what to do. And I don't know, I feel like having these huge digital games on my PlayStation is just like, I can't play another game. I can't put another game on this thing.
Yeah.
It'll just explode or like set on fire.
You just have to like pick which game you want to uninstall for now.
Yeah, and that's the pain in the ass too, right? Is because you have to uninstall a game, and then if you really want to play it like that day, you can't. You have to download it again, and then maybe you can play it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. With me, I'm so biased because with me, it's like our internet speeds are so trash that no matter what, it's going to take us like a day and a half to get something going on our PlayStation from the network. So,
and that's another big flaw with console gaming specifically. Is that because now all these games command like higher install space, and this is the same with PC, but like consoles all launched at like 500 gigs. Is like your base level like hard drive space. And all these games are like anywhere but like, I mean specifically like the AAA stuff is between like 20 to like Grand Theft Auto 55, you know, to start with. And so that's like you can get like I don't know how many games on your hard drive, like just specifically AAA games.
Yeah.
Like
before.
maybe 10.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like 10
maybe.
is like
Yeah, that's pushing
Pushing
it, I
it,
think. Yeah. Yeah. But that doesn't include, like, that's just the game file. That doesn't include all the updates and patches or whatever
Yeah,
that it has to install
that's-
afterwards too.
yeah.
But
And that's sort of, I guess, an interesting thing with like new gen stuff, or at least like maybe the last couple, is that even if you're buying a physical release, it's still tied to the internet for patches and updates and DLC for a lot of different games. You can't just buy it physically.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's at a hybrid place now. Like it's kind of, it's not the good old cartridge and
yeah, plug
Yeah,
and play.
like
Exactly.
and old like CD games anymore, where you just throw it in and a game has to be done on release date, or else
What?
you're shipping new versions of it or whatever.
Yeah.
Now it's just easy enough, and I guess in the last couple of years on console and some PC releases, we've seen just like kind of like half-assed games
Yeah.
put out, and then it being patched to hell afterwards to try to fix it, or
Looking
maybe
at you,
even not
Ubisoft.
giving any attention at all.
Sorry.
Oh.
I had to cut in
Like,
because I was mad
I
at
guess
Ubisoft.
what was it? Some of the last Assassin's Creed games
Yeah.
and things from Ubisoft have just
Yep.
been pretty fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Like,
just-
really.
They need to push out a product and they don't give a shit about how it actually is at launch, you know.
Yeah.
There's like,
Yeah,
we'll fix it later, you
Patch
know?
it later.
But that's such a fucking shitty way of thinking about things, you know.
Yeah. And that's
And you'd think that like doing something like that would cost them more money. Like I know you're turning a profit with the game that you're releasing, but at the same time it's just like, you know, you're just throwing away money because you don't feel like giving that much of a shit about your game.
yeah.
So
Yeah, but I mean, with something like that, it's, I don't know, it's that they're under such a strict deadline
yeah.
for those games, and it's just like, if we don't get this game out on time and it doesn't sell enough, then the employees don't get like their bonus of the year or
Yeah.
whatever. And the industry, I don't know if the industry is really at such a demand for, I don't know. I've never met the person who was just like, I need the next Assassin's Creed game. Like, I can't wait.
That was me.
I think
a
it's
while
kind
ago.
of like
Yeah, I
it
mean,
hit series fatigue a long time ago.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
agree. Yeah,
No, that's with everything though. It's like Call of Duty is like
Oh.
probably the most guilty of that. 'Cause
But at
it's
the
just
same
like,
time-
I you know I've always wanted to just pick up a Call of Duty game just to just dick around, have a good time, but I can't justify getting a Call of Duty game when there's a new one next year.
mhm.
You know, because it's just
Right.
like I get the game and then there's the season pass and then you get all the other fucking
What
levels
is
and
this?
shit.
Oh no, I'm gonna be attacked by a
Never
cat again.
kisses.
Oh great.
Ah!
Oh no! Oh. Why
Vicious
would you do
cat.
that to
Yeah.
Cheap cat? Why? You're picking the cat hairs off me now? Wonderful.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just like I can't buy a game knowing that there's gonna be like all these other maps, and then within like 6 months of the maps all coming out, the next one's out, and I gotta spend like another
Yeah,
fucking $80 or whatever.
it's kind of pay to win kind of content, right? Like, there's a lot of that shit nowadays too. But I don't know. I feel like them pushing their products like that, it's just really not giving them enough time to develop a decent game. They're just
Yeah.
pumping up
Well,
the same shit every year.
To be fair, they do have 3 dev teams doing Call of Duty games,
Wow.
and they have
But
like
they're
each,
big enough they can do that, right?
Yeah, and each game has
Yeah.
like its own like 3-year cycle now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just kind of like, I don't know. There's Modern Warfare, and then there was Advanced Warfare, and now there's Infinite Warfare, and it's just like, where do you fucking draw the line,
Where does
dude?
the warfare end?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
Anyway, that was just my whole point about digital physical copies. They both take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
It
And
disappeared again.
Oh boy.
But
is that like a Disturbed song or something? No, that's Metallica, right?
That's a Metallica song.
Is it like Disturbed or something? Like, I don't know.
It's that one where he's going, ooh,
okay.
Yeah, you got it.
bad jokes.
Oh,
Oh,
But at least what I remember hearing is that there's not going to be like a main storyline Assassin's Creed game this year. So
yeah.
yeah.
oh, really?
I think that was due to two things. Unity being like such a broken
Yeah,
fucking
people
mess.
really hated that.
And because of that, I don't think the next one, what was the next one? Syndicate. I don't think it like sold that well because of Unity being
So
such
busted.
yeah, so busted.
Yeah.
So
Broke
they're kind
ass.
of like, we'll reevaluate things and come back next year. But
Seeing the gifs from I think it was Unity and like
when they're missing chunks of
character
their
models' faces
yeah,
not loading in and stuff, and it's just like eyeballs
yeah,
floating in the air.
eyeballs and lips and teeth.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's horrifying.
freaky shit.
It's just like, why would you let this happen? To be fair, that sort of thing happened in Assassin's Creed 3. I remember, I bought the game, and then for some reason my internet was out at my apartment for like a week, and there was a point in the game where it like, because it switches between like the past sections, like the memory stuff, which is all like going back to Renaissance Italy and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. In this case, it was like Civil War era America. And there's a part where you go back into like the normal like modern day stuff, and there was like a platforming section I had to do, but like the camera just went all fucking squirrely and would not like, you're here, like say you're like starting like right here, and the camera would shoot to like the place over here, like in the distance,
yeah.
and you can't even see yourself.
Jesus.
And that's how, like, that's pre-patch. And that's like, how could you let that happen? Like, I mean, Assassin's Creed 3 is also, like, really boring, so how could you let that happen, too? But that's besides the point. So.
Yeah, I've never actually played an Assassin's Creed game, so I wouldn't. I don't think I should have an opinion on something like this.
Well, that's the thing. I guess I just keep up with some gaming news. I've never actually played any of the games, but
Yeah, it was a
just
pretty big
knowing
thing.
how often they came out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oops, sorry.
if
fucked your day.
if you really want to play an Assassin's Creed game, play 2.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of people said too. They're just, it's like Uncharted. People are just like, skip the first one, play the second one, because the
Yeah.
second one's way better anyway. Come down here.
I think you gotta jump on the platform, but no, like, yeah, it is very much like Assassin's Creed 1 to Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2. It's just like taking everything that was good in the first game and just like
making it better.
amping it up and
Yeah.
So
Anyway, back on the topic of physical versus
yeah,
digital.
we went on a tangent
Yeah,
there,
it's
but
alright.
it's all good.
Tangents are fine.
Yeah, I guess for me, like, physical copies, like, I like collecting shit. I guess I should say I like collecting shit that I'm actually interested in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm gonna be like, hey, I like stamps now. And,
Yeah,
you know,
just
go
gonna-
fucking
yeah.
buy a shitload
Pick
of
up
them.
some stamps, yeah.
Yeah. It's for me, it's like I like to see, like, I like to show people what I've played, you know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want them to see, like, hey, these are the purchases I made, for better or worse.
Yeah.
And I've slogged through them, for better or worse. And maybe we could have, like, a chat about, you know, our you know, feelings and experiences about these certain games and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can make a connection, right?
Exactly. And I think that for me is the big reason I love physical copies. But digital, yeah, it's ease of use, and for here, like, talking about Dark Souls 3 again, $90 fucking dollars.
I think it was $90 across the board, though. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter whether it was
It's true,
here
but, you know,
or wherever.
I just like to be mad at our
Yeah.
Walmart.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing for MGS5 too. We're just like, I need this on launch day, and they're like $90. Like, oh, that's a little pricey.
It's so steep, yeah.
And
But AAA video gaming it's come to that point in the first place, though. Like, just purchasing a video game.
Let's talk about Battlefront for a second. Battlefront is an $80 game at like base game. The season pass is if I'm not mistaken, in Canada anyways, which is, for those watching that don't know, we're situated in Canada. We're in Canada. I believe it's $70 for the season pass.
Yeah.
To get like the deluxe edition with everything is like $160 to $170.
Really?
Yes, and that's just, as far as I know, that's just adding maps.
Wow.
That, like, there's, I think, as far as I know, all the weapons that are available were available in the base game, and yeah, it's just adding maps, and there's no, like, some games I know, multiplayer games like that, you know, single player is kind of just brushed aside, like with Call of Duties and stuff like that. They try to make it like, you know, your Hollywood action experience and stuff like that, but people go and play those games for multiplayer.
Yeah,
Let's
they load it up. Well, one of them you had to play through the single player campaign to get the online. I don't know which one that was, but I know there was an uproar, and they took that out because people just literally they plug those games in and they play online.
Yeah.
They don't worry about the single player.
And so for Battlefield, there's kind of like story-ish missions, but they're not like story missions, you know? Like, as far as I know, Battlefront 1 and 2 had like full campaigns, single player, that you could, and like way more maps, way more like everything. And then they launched this game at like $80, and then the season pass is like $70, and
it's multiplayer only.
And it's multiplayer
right?
only, and there's not.
Oh.
And it doesn't feel like there's enough content to justify these prices, you know?
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, that game is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
The maps
Sound
are
design
huge.
is perfect. They nailed it.
Yeah.
There's so much, like, tech-wise that they got so right with that game. But in terms of, like, content specifically is the big problem with that game, in that there's not a lot to offer, you know, overall. And it's fun, like, I played it, but, you know, it's fun, but I can't justify it for these reasons, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like, I
think the deal with Battlefront was that so much went into the visuals. They used, I can't remember the name of it, they used some sort of new technique to actually make, like, to make the different maps look like the places from the movies. But at the same time, I think it also might have been mentioned by whoever was leading the team that was developing it that, you know, it's more about like the online thing now. But I think so much of their budget and like their manpower went into making it look so like true to Star Wars and sounding so true to Star Wars that putting in a whole campaign wasn't really something they could do.
Yeah, and I can certainly appreciate putting in the effort to make the experience like that much truer to the movies and that sort of thing. But at the same time, like, you're making a game, you know, and you want to like make the experiences available that the public wants, I guess. And, you know, it's not like you're bowing to the public, but there's a certain expectation that you should try to meet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That shit just pisses me off, like, big time. So. But, like, yeah, it's kind of going back to physical versus digital, our topic of the week.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. You know, it's totally like we mentioned earlier with, like, books is a big thing.
It's be able to hold something.
Yeah. Well, it's like I read all the time on my breaks for work, and people are just like, hey, you got a new book this week, or whatever, and it's like, you know, filing through it and stuff. And it just feels nicer to have, like, a different book all the time instead of being like, hey, I got my fucking Kobo or my Kindle or something like that.
Yeah. I think those things are really great for travel.
Yeah.
But I don't. If you're just sitting around your house and
Yeah.
you can read a book and you're sitting there with your Kobo or something, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's also kind of like, hey, I don't know if I need to take, like, 90 books inside a Kobo on a trip and stuff. You know? But there's something to seeing, like, a different, I don't know how I want to phrase it, but, like, I'm really losing here.
This part is so fucking awesome.
Yeah, this part.
We're playing as giant Yoshis right now, and we're stomping shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
It's like in the Simpsons games, Bart's Nightmare, when you play as Bartzilla and you're smashing.
Yeah, totally. I can understand why you're losing it, because this is pretty amazing.
Hop through there, nice. But yeah, it's just kind of like you want to show off your library of like
These are my things.
books or CDs or games and stuff like that.
Yep.
Instead of being like, hey, let me fire up this thing and then all my stuff, here's a list of them in there.
Yeah.
It's just like you can file through, you can grab it off the shelf, take a look at it for yourself.
Yeah.
And that always interests me, and that's why I like physical copies.
There's sort of the interesting, like, disconnect that's come with, like, heavy digital distribution.
Yeah.
I guess of, like, a lot of mediums, whether it's, like, books or films or games, is that, like, I guess for whatever reason, we like making libraries of things like that, and to not be able to do that, or for it to just kind of, like, a list just seems underwhelming in that way.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like we need something a little more majestic, or, like, I don't know,
visually
clean-ish.
appealing.
Yeah. And I think there's something to picking up a video game case and looking at the cover art, looking at the game art, flipping it over.
Like the descriptions that they have.
Yeah, and looking at, like, you know, when it's like the greatest hits or whatever, it's just like, this is the best game ever.
Yeah.
Or like, whatever
like,
it is.
Well,
it's
like,
usually stupid,
any Assassin's Creed game I bought, it's just like, conquer your foes, you're an assassin, and there's just like a mile of fucking like legal text.
Yeah.
Shit
That's
like
what
that.
they're all like.
It's so lame, but like I remember like once again thinking back to like Sonic 2, it's just like Sonic's got a new adventure, but now he's got a new pal.
Yeah.
And you know, and he's got the spin dash move now and stuff. They're really hyping up like, you know, key features to the game and stuff like that.
And it makes you want to buy the game, right?
Yeah, it gets you excited about it.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, you can do ship battles now. Here, this
see,
game is legal in these countries. It's not. It's copyright. And
you see some cover art, and you're like, damn, this game looks badass.
Yeah.
I want to play that. But it just doesn't work that way anymore, you know?
Like, it's also interesting now that a lot of, like, the hype sort of thing is through, like, YouTube or different things like that. Like, a lot of the time you're not going into a store not knowing what to expect.
Yeah. Like back in the day when you went into the movie rental store and you went to rent your game, like you really had to pick and choose. You can I can pick one that I've played before that I know is good, or I can look at the back of these other ones and see. Like you were holding something physical that was like, okay, I may be able to make a connection with this thing.
Yeah. Some weeks you get Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
Other weeks you get Quest 64.
Oh, boy.
Superman 64.
Oh, yeah, that too. But something I really appreciate, and recently Sega, because they released all these games on Steam, right? And it's kind of all through their Sega. It's like the Master System and Mega Drive Classics is what it's called. Mm-hmm. And before it was just kind of like, it's just like a wrapper, just an emulator. So when you fire up the game that you want to play, you start the program and it's kind of like gets this little screen and you flip through the games you want to do. And it's just kind of like a little screen. Nothing too fancy. Mm-hmm. But now that
that sounds really reminiscent of the Neo Geo station on the PlayStation 3.
I am not familiar with
No?
that.
Well, it's pretty much the same concept. Like, you open it up, and it's just like, this is like our Neo Geo collection, and you can kind of like, it opens up like its own theme, and here's like all your Neo Geo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it really reminds me of.
But the thing is, they recently added mod support
Okay.
for Sega Genesis and
really?
Master Drive games.
That's pretty awesome.
So now with that, they've added a new hub to starting off your Sega Genesis games.
Uh-huh.
And so the hub is like a kid's room in the early 90s, just decked out with Sonic, like Sega shit. There's like a Shinobi poster.
Yeah.
And there's like an Echo the Dolphin, like stuffed animal on the floor and stuff.
Blue Glass shoutouts.
Oh yeah, totally. But now that they've done that, they've because it's kind of like a whole world thing, all your games are on a shelf in this hub world thing.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I'm just
well, that's, yeah.
I really appreciate that because it goes back to like...
Well, it's like The Sims is what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Like, you can just build your little room and just be like, this is all my cool shit.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, hey, you know, physical copies were the thing of the day, and we kind of want to recapture that in this digital realm. So here you go with
that's pretty
this
neat.
wooden shelf, and it's got like the old like the tape deck sort of stereo thing on top to do your audio options and stuff
that's
through.
Cool.
It's
warms
really,
the cockles of my heart.
yeah, it's so cool, and I thought it was really awesome.
It's a gift up there.
So I thought that was worth mentioning, that I was really stoked about that. Oh, then we can just there we go.
Yeah, that's really neat. And
So-
like I've got a display case, well, not a display case, but it's just like a shelf with all my shit on it,
Yeah,
and the old shit shelf.
yeah,
And like I just like that when people come over and they're like, oh, they walk over there and they check out my shit, and like you know, they're looking at what games I have, and then they'll pull out a game and be like, oh, I remember this game, and that's what I really enjoy. It's like, if you invite them over when you have a digital copy, it's just like, okay, here, I'll sit you in front of my computer and you can scroll through my list.
Well, that was kind of like the first night we started jamming games. You're like, hey, here's my shelf.
Yeah,
Grab
take a
something,
look,
let's
yeah.
fucking go. And then I would just like check out like all you had, and like, oh, you have a copy of Two Worlds too.
Yeah, I do.
And you know,
I do.
just kind of go from there.
Yeah,
I guess
Exactly.
I do.
I do. Oh
You
boy.
don't have to sound so
yeah.
unenthusiastic about
Yeah.
it. Two Worlds, my runner-up for 2007, after all.
Speaking of that, I actually went and made a list, but maybe we could save that more towards the end.
Yeah, for sure.
Unless you want me to do a lightning round. Like, either way, it would be a lightning round. But
Yeah.
I don't want to go through my list and have it be an hour.
Yeah.
But,
That's
Well,
still,
it was like I was saying earlier, like I think I mentioned in the last podcast, it was like I was talking to you, I was like, hey, do you want to be on this one? And then we kind of just like forgot about it, and then it was like 3 hours, like, man, if Nick was on it,
Yeah.
it would have been like 5 hours long.
Yeah.
It would have been like interesting. It would have been like fucking,
It would have been like a 3-parter.
like we were already at the length of a Lord of the Rings movie, you
Yeah.
know?
yeah.
So,
That's good.
But I guess another thing that, just thinking of like digital and physical stuff like that, and just thinking of some of the games I've played, like I've been getting a little more into like PC gaming now. I'm running off of a laptop that can do fairly well. Like, it's nowhere near like the highest spec stuff, but
Yeah.
I can run Dark Souls on it, and I can
and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
play different stuff like that. But what was sort of interesting, I guess, last year was have both of you guys played Undertale?
I
No.
haven't finished it, but I have played it.
I should really play it because I was really digging Earthbound, and I heard that it's quite similar to something like that.
Well, Undertale will definitely fill you with determination.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh,
little,
determination.
little joke there, but
Just a little one.
a little one. Not a very good one. Anyways.
But what it did is, like, I don't think that game could work with, like, on console or with a physical release. Because, and, like, anytime mentioning Undertale, even though it's been out for, months now, because I think it was released in like
October
last year or
September.
September, something like that. But if you do something in the game that might be detrimental to, say, the happiness of you or the world that it's set in, and you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that, and you go back, the game will let you do that fine.
But it will remember
some
that.
characters will remember things, and they'll be like, oh, I knew you were a shitlord, and you know what? Like, I'm not gonna let you forget it. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure exactly, and there's other stuff too that it does, but I'm not sure, like, how that could work on anything other than a PC.
Yeah.
Just in the way that it kind of has almost like two memories to your game, or just the way that it treats files.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you could.
Isn't it kind of like if you do a genocide run, which is like actually killing people,
Killing everybody
and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Like, as long as you have the game installed, it will forever remember that you did that. Like, even if you do a pacifist run after that, like, the only way you can get rid of that is like completely uninstalling the game.
Yeah, and that's what I've done, because I played all the different routes. There's tons of different endings depending on exactly what you do.
Yeah.
But I did what's called like the neutral, and then pacifist, and then genocide. But yeah, from looking stuff up, the game will remember if you did the genocide route forever. Oh, there is a giant here that's going to throw rocks at me.
Yeah,
he's the one placing down boulders.
Yeah,
Never mind.
giant firebombs and shit. Yep. Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah. Keep an eye out for a ledge you can drop off for a bonfire.
Yes, there's a bonfire in Sense Fortress that's very convenient.
So.
Anywho, this is one thing that I've been thinking about for a little bit, is that I'm a big fan of swag. And with digital copies, you can get digital swag, like you can get downloadable content, things like that. You know, maybe they'll give you a code and you can pick shit up. But with me, like, I bought the collector's edition of Dark Souls 2, regrettably, but I bought it. You know what? It's actually not regret. Blah 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 blah. I don't regret my purchase of the Dark Souls 2 collector's edition, because the figure that it came with was absolutely amazing. It's like this 12-inch figure, like the two swords, you know, the dude from the cover art? Yeah, like, it's that dude. And it's absolutely amazing, super highly detailed. Yeah, absolutely love it. And with digital downloads, like, you can get, like I said, the downloadable content, but you don't get the art book, and you don't get the collector's edition figure, and you don't get the another one is amiibos. Like, you don't get the amiibo. You know, like, I'm an amiibo guy because I think they're just perfect little statuettes, right? But I don't collect all the amiibos. I just collect the ones that I like.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's another great thing, is collectability, right? And when you get the collector's edition, you get all this extra swag with it. Like, I bought Kingdom Hearts 2.5, and it came with like a little Kingdom Hearts pin. I'm like, oh my, like, that's all that it came with.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the limited edition, and you get like a $2 pin. Yeah. I'm like, I don't care, I just want the pin.
Yeah. I remember I bought the Assassin's Creed 3 Collector's Edition because it was on, like...
You come with that dude with the no, what's the one that's like... It came with the guy with the American flag? Is that... That's the one? Yeah. Okay.
It came with that because no one would buy it, and it was $20 at Future Shop.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
I peeled off all the stickers to see, like, how much it cost when it started.
Yeah.
And it was, like, 160 to start, and they cut off, like, 40, and another 40, and another 40.
And they're just like, somebody take this thing home.
So I bought it for $20, and I got the statue. I got a belt buckle.
Wow.
And, like, an art book. And, like, it was, like, Washington's journal.
One of my favorite ones was actually Uncharted 3. I actually left my Uncharted 3 Collector's Edition in Winnipeg when I lived there. I'm a little upset about it because it came with a really sweet Nathan Drake action figure and a belt buckle and the ring that he wears on the necklace.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it comes with some really cool shit, and I left it. And I'm
that's
sad
a
about it. Yeah. it was given to me, and yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of okay with it, but at the same time, I'm like, fuck, it would look really great on my shelf.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just.
Oh, fuck that up.
That's all right. It's one of those things where I would rather put it on my shelf than just be like, look at my digital shelf.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
yeah, it keeps coming back to this. I really keep coming back to this where it's like, I really prefer. And I think to me, it sounds like everyone is kind of in agreement in this group that we prefer physical copies.
I'd say overall, I would agree.
Maybe we should talk about...
like, I guess it's more the, like, what platform you have it on.
Yeah. I'm a console
also,
gamer,
like,
so.
what you're looking at for, like, I
Oh,
guess collectability of it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I think right now, just the way that consoles are set up, that it's better to have a physical copy.
Yeah.
But, like, the lines are blurring continually, but
Yeah.
For sure.
as
Yeah.
you said, in the near future, I can't really see consoles going full digital
Yeah.
just because of, well, like you said, back where you guys are, that, like, the internet is shit most of the time. So,
Yeah.
like, having a fully digital console where you have to download everything wouldn't work at all.
No.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And-
for the time being, that's what it's going to be for console most of the time.
yeah.
And that goes for like multiplayer experiences as well. It's just like, well, because you were talking about Splatoon
Yeah.
and how like Splatoon is more or less useless to you.
Yeah.
Here.
Because I cannot play it online because the internet is that shit. And you know what? And I'm. They might have tried to fix it, but like Nintendo's network, their server network and all that stuff is not good. People
Well, that's the thing I remember hearing that, what was it, that when they were, like, interviewed or when they were, like, making their different networks for, I guess, both the Wii and, I guess, more so the Wii U, they were asked about, like,
was the connectivity.
PSN
Yeah.
and, like, Microsoft stuff, and they
Yeah.
were like, no, we've never really looked at it.
Oh man.
We're not sure how it works. And it's like, really?
Yeah.
You haven't looked at
You haven't looked at your
successful
competitors. Yeah.
Goddamn blue ocean thinking. You know?
They're just like our Nintendo's the best, and we don't have to worry about any of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Fucking
That bothers me.
Iwata. God rest your soul, but fuck you. No.
Yeah, I think they're still kind of stuck in their old ways though.
Yeah.
And you know, I still, when I go to a game shop or anything like that, I love looking at all the Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
Because I know that for a fact Nintendo gear and their cover art and all that stuff is going to be top notch.
Yeah.
It's not going to be some shitty American, like, you know, I don't want to say knockoff, but shitty American cover art with some dude with two guns with his face away from them.
Yeah, he's tilting his head
exactly.
down like this, you know.
And that's pretty much Call of Duty. But when you look at any American release, it's pretty much just like some deep brooding man in shadow with a gun or something. And it's like, that's not what it is. And Nintendo, like, their cover art is like, there's effort put into it. There was marketing behind it.
Yeah.
And that's, I still really appreciate that with Nintendo.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I was actually reading up on Gunpei Yokoi the other day.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who, like, the father of the Game Boy and the Virtual Boy, believe it or not. But he was, like, a mentor to, like, Miyamoto and shit like that. And his philosophy was being able to design something that's fun that doesn't necessarily need like the most up-to-date technology, you know? If it's fun on something that's, you know, not as powerful as like the most powerful things out there, it's still fun.
Yeah.
And that's how his philosophy worked, and that's kind of like, that's basically how Nintendo works in general.
Pretty much,
you know?
yeah. And
So-
I don't want to say they're fueled by nostalgia, but there is a maybe a little bit of like ethanol or something like with nostalgia.
The thing is, like, Splatoon was the first new Nintendo IP since Pikmin. Pikmin was 2001, I think.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's almost like a decade.
Yeah.
Well, it was over a decade. No.
That's kind of the thing. Is just like they're rest. Well, I don't want to say they're resting on their laurels, but
they are. They
like
really are.
they're just, you know, they gotta make.
Well, they only have so many IPs, and they know how to really just like they know how to promote themselves, and they know how to make those IPs better, right? They don't really. Oh shit. They have to do something with them.
Damn!
Awesome.
I'm hearing a bunch of disco right now.
This
it's a boss
funky.
fight. We're fighting. What's his name? The big nose fluffy pants. Whatever the hell his name is.
That's his name.
Yeah, big nose fluffy
Big
pants.
nose
Believe it or
fluffy
not.
pants.
He knocks some stuff down later. I know that. But I think with the Nintendo there is a quality about their physical products, and it really shows. And with the amiibos, like really, people want to buy amiibos because they're really good looking physical products.
Yeah, for sure.
And there is time and effort, and maybe it's old school, and maybe they're a little bit behind the times because they still focus on producing physical objects. But
Yeah.
I don't think that they're in the wrong for doing so.
Well, here's the thing.
Right.
My
you have to-
my little
there
note
we go.
about that. I was in Saskatoon this weekend,
Uh-huh.
and I was checking out the amiibos at
Uh-huh.
Walmart,
Uh-huh.
and you could buy a warp pipe for Bowser
Oh.
to stand on, and it was like $15.
Yeah, well, they're all like $15, and some of them are just like.
But it was a warp pipe.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
a warp pipe. They had nothing.
Yeah.
There was nothing there.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, and they know that people are gonna buy it.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Why not just do it?
Yeah, totally.
And like I'm not a huge Nintendo fanboy, but I mean they know that people are gonna buy it, and
Yeah.
that's just all there is to it.
For sure. But
Well, like I've heard the argument more recently with like the NX being recently announced and people sort of talking about the Wii U's lifespan
yeah.
and
Calm
how
down.
like financially it was like a major downturn after the Wii.
Yeah, oh, for
And
sure.
The term that I heard put to it, and I guess like I was to cite my sources, I was listening to the Co-optional podcast today.
Oh, yeah.
It's every Tuesday, but they were talking about this and the idea of like newness just to be new, like just to do something wacky,
Yeah.
like how and that the idea was okay when Gunpei tried out the Virtual Boy, but then it died. You know, they had like the Game Boy, and they had
No, we're not gonna make it.
I guess at the time the Super Nintendo to kind of fall back on.
Yeah.
Like they had solid platforms to fall back on, and they could do the wacky stuff because those two platforms did so well.
Yeah.
But then it almost seemed at some point that they decided, oh hey, we can just let the wacky shit be our regular stuff.
Mm.
And then the Wii came out, but that appealed to, like, I guess
It was an older
a
crowd.
more
Well,
like a casual
yeah.
crowd.
Yeah.
Here's the
There
thing
were
about the
people
Wii.
who follow Nintendo that got it, like
Yeah.
like I guess I did at the time. But
My-
then there was people like our parents' age or older, and then it also
My
appealed to,
grandpa
like,
has a
really
Wii.
young kids too. So
Yeah.
My grandpa has a Wii for Wii Fit, and that goes to show, like,
Wii Sports, like they
Yeah.
exploded.
totally.
yeah,
And that's kind of like the thing
Like,
with
just
that
for that.
console. Is yeah.
The biggest thing about the Wii is that they intentionally didn't stock enough in stores,
Oh, yeah.
so that people were always coming in and asking for it, so it was in high demand.
Oh yeah.
And that was just like one of their I don't know, mischievous plans. Like,
Yeah.
we stock this shit in low quantities, then people are gonna wanna get the first one that they can find.
You
so.
wanna, you cheeky fuck.
Yeah. Actually, another thing that I'd really like to talk about is pre-orders with physical and digital copies.
Okay.
oh god,
There
Pre-orders,
we go.
I believe, are kind of shitty with physical copies. Either you have to wait in line at a fucking GameStop with 50 other smelly motherfuckers who've been up since
Yeah.
2 days ago,
It's midnight. You want to go to bed.
Yeah.
But you also want to play the game. But you also are stuck with all these knobs.
But no matter what, as soon as you get home, you have to plug it in, and it's going to have to install something.
Yeah.
Or you can get the pre-order digitally, go to bed that night, wake up in the morning, and guess what? You have a fully functional game that you're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. In my opinion, digitally is more... it's convenient. It's a lot more convenient.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes to accessibility, right? Having to go
for sure.
get up and go to a store and purchase a game with all the smelly other dudes that you've been waiting with, like...
Yeah. Well,
Doesn't appeal to me.
it's not so bad here because like they don't do midnight launches here
No,
anymore.
yeah.
But when I went and bought Dark Souls 3, I went before work and there was one guy that went there before me.
Yeah.
And I asked the guy, it was just like, is there no one's coming to get this at all? And Dark Souls is still, I'd still consider
I don't
kind
think
of
it's
niche.
very popular in this town.
I'd still consider it a niche game.
Yeah.
But he's just like, yeah, we don't really get much people showing up super early to come get games and stuff like that anymore. And so it's just kind of like, well,
Well,
what
then,
do you
yeah.
know?
Yeah,
So-
and I went there and it was Friday, so it was 4 days after its release, or 3 days, sorry, after its release, and they still had, they probably still have Day 1 edition stocked.
Oh, absolutely.
To this moment. They have Day 1 editions of Metal Gear Solid 5
Yeah.
stocks.
I remember
Like,
when I bought the Evil
Shit ain't
Within.
gonna die.
When I bought the Evil Within, I think it was like a couple days after launch.
Yeah.
And yeah, I still got Day 1 editions, and that was in Regina.
Yeah.
At a fucking
Yeah,
EB Games.
I don't think in Canada there's such a high demand for things like that. I
Yeah.
don't know if people really care. Well, yeah, I don't know if
Well,
people really
they-
care that much, but
There are, but there aren't.
Yeah.
Also, if that makes sense.
yeah. Yeah, especially around here, new games get released on Tuesday. No one really. They're not
No
waiting
one
in
gives
line.
a shit
Yeah,
about
they're not.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, it's all about Friday.
Yeah.
But
Or Wednesday, Hump Day. It's a good day.
it is.
But not Tuesday.
No,
Fuck Tuesday.
to me it was only Tuesday.
I feel like I should know that.
That's Street
reference.
Fighter,
Okay.
the movie. Raul Julia, the role that killed him.
Of course.
Yes, of course. Anyway, I think for the argument's sake, convenience is one of the biggest things. You don't have to get up and go to a fucking store.
Yeah.
You can just sit on your ass, go to the online store, purchase it, and let it download.
Yeah. That and if you ever want to move.
Yeah.
I was watching a podcast.
Oh yeah.
It was the Funhouse Dudes Do podcast. I think it was the second one actually, and they briefly touched on the topic of physical versus digital, and or maybe it was the whole topic of that one too. I don't remember. But Michael Jones of Achievement Hunter was talking about moving from Jersey to Texas to take a job at Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
And just how much of a fucking pain in the ass it was
load up all his video
to load
games.
up all of his games.
Yep.
Because he is totally a sort of person like us, where he likes having all the game on the shelf so everyone can see and that sort of thing. But when it comes to moving halfway across the country, it's just kind of such a pain in the ass to have to pack everything up and then go and stuff. I mean, you could just have everything on your console already, or
Yeah. But at the same time, you can't say, hey, I got this game. I think you should try it out. I'm gonna lend it to you.
Yeah.
Or hey, I have all these video games that I can't or I don't want to play anymore. I'm gonna sell them.
Yeah.
Right.
The one exception to that rule, because I found that out in my research for digital distribution, Green Man Gaming actually allows reselling of games.
What is Green Man Gaming?
Green Man Gaming it's basically kind of like a GOG. It's DRM free games and that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
I think it is.
How do we get up there?
That's a good question. I think I have to hit this bubble here.
Hit it.
I
have to
gotta
smack
tell
it
you,
with
we've been playing this game this whole time. I still don't remember what button you press to aim.
X. That's the top
Oh,
one.
okay. There we
But I guess for
there we go.
for digital games though, it's an easier way for indies to get their games
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
I
it's-
guess
it's
it
more
wasn't
cost
until
effective.
I guess it was probably Steam, right? That things like Braid and Fez and Super Meat Boy were
Yeah, they
first.
blew
Yeah.
up.
out on. Yeah. So
Well, I think it was Steam and 360. Actually, I was reading.
Yeah, Xbox Live Arcade was a big one.
Yeah, I was reading about Xbox Live Arcade as part of my research, and this one site, I think it was like a wiki about digital distribution or something like that, and they were talking about like notable games on Xbox Live, and it was like Braid, Super Meat Boy, and Uno was another one.
Uno, really?
Yeah,
That's
Uno?
awesome.
Uno. Apparently it was a lot of fun. Like, I'm not gonna knock it because I've heard good things about the Xbox Live Uno. But yeah, it's just like it was kind of like an interesting choice for their, their small. It was like 4 games on there, and they picked Uno as like one of their most notable games.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
So I'm stuck back.
Yeah,
there.
that's right. I'm here.
But yeah, so.
Yeah.
Well,
hang on. I'm just gonna browse my notes real quick and see if there's anything else that
Okay.
I think we've pretty much covered.
I think I've pretty well covered all that I'd like to say. What do you think, Nick? Have you said? Is there anything else you want to add?
yeah, I guess like just to wrap up, like there's just that nostalgia with physical copies because that was the only way to play games
Yeah.
before I guess
Yeah.
the popularity of the personal PC.
Yeah.
The personal computer, and
Personal
now,
PC.
Yeah.
the personal.
Oh wait,
super
personal computer. I fucked that up too.
You need the personal computer.
Yes, that's right.
It's the most personal.
Yeah.
but
Some
but now
fucking meta.
with such like a large indie scene, like having been growing since I guess like at least in my memory, those major hits of like Fez and
Yeah,
Super
2010.
Meat Boy and all of those coming out is like it's so easy for your games to get like out now that it's
Yeah.
almost like a problem on Steam.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
muddying the
There's
waters
just
a
shit
little
out
bit.
there.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
physical releases, I think, are still gonna have a place in people's hearts just because of the
Nostalgia.
collectability and the library-like nature, and like with things like special editions or even like I was talking about like indie box that that they come with different like swag and stuff like that, or like things that you can show off and put places and like really recognize games as a piece of art and media in your home.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
there's good things to both, because I think it'd be really hard unless you do like a huge Kickstarter to be able to launch an indie game
Yeah.
like off the
Yeah.
hop into like a physical distribution.
Yeah.
And then it's also marketing, right? The big AAA guys, they have a huge marketing team with the physical copies and the posters and all that stuff. you
Yeah.
know? With an indie developer, it's easy to just release it on a platform such as Steam.
Yeah.
And then they don't have to worry about it. It's out in
Yeah.
the world, and they can just let it do its thing.
Well, like, and the thing is, like, your marketing is to go to like PAX East and sort of things
Yeah.
like that, and like have a booth
Yeah.
at every convention, get the
Right.
word out that way.
Yeah.
Because you're not like, it's not like your Activision. You can like pay for the big billboards outside E3 every year.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you gotta fucking sweat for it, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that's totally respectable, and
Yeah.
but it's a necessary evil, and
Yeah.
but at the same time, it gets your word out, and it's a more personal interaction, you know.
Yeah, and you can interact with your fans as well.
Exactly.
Say you've done something and people have enjoyed your first game, or like you're a Newgrounds dude or something like that.
Yeah.
You're developing a game. Like, you're allowed to go to these things and be a physical presence instead of your game being.
Instead of a digital
Yeah,
presence,
yeah.
but actually,
Oh.
yeah, kind
Yeah.
of wrapping it around.
Yeah. It's meta. It's all meta, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think, in closing, my kind of final argument between digital and physical is that not every game, because of legal issues or because of whatever, not every game will be available through digital download.
Yeah,
There might be a
Right.
time when that is possible, but as I said, through legal issues and whatever, maybe it's just like the company is just through with that series or whatever it is.
Or the game's not available anymore, like
yeah,
PT.
Yeah, or, exactly,
Right.
and things like that. You can only buy physical copies of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 because...
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Capcom removed it from the stores. They removed the Xbox Live and PlayStation stores, so
Wow.
you can't download it anymore. It doesn't exist out there in
That's
the
interesting.
digital field. Yeah, and there are some games that you'll never see actually for digital download. It's just
Yeah.
and in situations like that, I'm sure those games are probably rare and they're worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think the NES library is probably one of the biggest most popular libraries for collectors.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
don't know if there is a lot of... Even Nintendo doesn't have a lot of their NES library up on the store. And there probably never will be, simply because of legal issues, right?
Yeah, well,
So-
it's like stuff like dealing with Rare,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's an American developer, right?
nope, they're UK.
Are they? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're UK, but like they were purchased by Microsoft, so
Oh.
there's the whole issue of I don't know if Donkey Kong 64 is.
I'm pretty sure it's a rare game.
Well, no, it is a rare game.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if like those are on Virtual Console or not.
I think it is.
Is
It
it?
might be now, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Because I
there's some
remember,
games that
I
are
remember
kind of
reading
creeping
there was like a lot of like, paperwork or whatever that they had to sort through to get these games. Because it's like it is Nintendo's characters, but it is like
Rare's
their game,
property.
Rare
you know?
developed,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. So there's whole shenanigans going on there, I guess, if you want to put it that way. but-
Yeah.
Yeah, so for physical copies, it's a lot easier for like games preservation and like history and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Because a game's not going to disappear if you have it on a cartridge.
Yeah.
Like for most, I guess, like the thing with Pokemon and like the saves dying
Yeah.
because of batteries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
They're easily replaceable, but
yeah, and I disappear. Once again. I'm gonna have to look
just
at this
fight the
camera.
Iron
I
Golem.
don't know
Just fight the
why
Iron
I-
Golem.
yeah.
I went into the menu.
I don't-
I
You
checked
died.
before
Oh.
that to not have it turn off automatically, but it keeps doing this to me.
That's okay.
But no, like that's a big plus for physical copies, is because like you're always gonna have that, and as long as you have a console that works and a cartridge that works, you can, and well, I guess the right like cables to connect it to a TV. And did I disappear again?
Yeah. I don't think you've come back yet.
No, yeah, you've been gone.
Jeez. Maybe my camera just died? I don't know.
Well, we can see your character in Dark Souls,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's very representative of you as a person.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you don't want to actually try and fix
My
it,
camera just died.
what helmet do you have on?
That looks like the Silver Knight helmet? No.
Helm of the Wise, I think.
Oh,
is,
yeah.
Oh.
That's the dude who sells you all the shit in the
the depths.
yeah, the depths.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Blighttown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
So as long as this is okay, just to have me be
Yeah. It's too, yeah. Oh, well.
my suffering character.
Yeah.
What did you name your character?
I might have gone with Reniculus on this one. I can't remember. Let's see.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, I did. I didn't go with something silly.
Okay. The character I'm rolling right now in Dark Souls 1 is named Tito Sneedo.
I think I always just went with ZombieJohnny.
I always have to put a dumb name.
Okay, my Dark Souls 3 character name is Syrup, and I think that's
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
awesome.
Suey?
Syrup.
My Dark Souls 3 character's name is Flim Crams.
Yeah.
I
I don't know, there's something- I just
there's
like
a lot
syrup.
of M's and a Z at the end. of all
Syrup.
that. So,
That's all I gotta say
Awesome.
is Syrup.
but yep.
Yeah.
But I think I've pretty well. I guess to wrap up for me, I love collecting games and I like having them on the shelf, but I also just like having the game at any point and just being able to just get it at a moment's notice. Well, I mean, relatively speaking, because of
Yeah.
where we live, but And it also kind of comes down to if I can get a game at a good price, you know?
Yeah.
Because Dark Souls 2 I bought for $18 on,
Was that
on a PSN sale.
Oh, yeah. Well,
And-
and that's another great thing about digital, right? Is there's all these crazy
Always
sales.
good sales.
With physical
Right,
copies.
yeah.
I just bought a copy of Demon Souls, which is, you can't
Oh,
get digital copies of it. And
Yeah.
I think you can get it on PC. No, I don't
No,
think you
no,
can.
that's PS3 exclusive.
It's the reason why is because it's an Atlas game and it's not a From Software game.
Well, it is from.
It's From Software, but it was
It's kind of like Bandai Namco
yeah.
publishing
Yeah.
Dark Souls.
But with Atlas is like strictly pretty much
RPGs.
RPGs and PlayStation.
What's the game? Virtual Highlight.
Yeah, yeah.
They distributed
And-
that game.
And they have really really low print runs as well.
Mm-hmm.
So their print run of physical copies is really limited.
Yeah.
And just getting a physical copy is difficult. I think it was $40 for Greatest Hits.
Oh,
and that
yeah.
was probably one of 3 Greatest Hits that I could buy that was actually in English.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So there, like I said, there's not many in the wild. They just don't exist. Yeah, they've
In
become
the wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People have become they've really become big collector's items.
Yeah.
And that's really. I mean, there are games out there that will never see digital release, and they're so rare in the wild
Yeah.
that people can hardly attain them physically. But
Yeah. I guess it's like if the price is right digitally and I really don't care, because there's some
Yeah.
games where it's like I absolutely want
yeah,
a physical copy of this, because this maybe it's like a game that I'm collecting the whole series. Like with Assassin's Creed, I have 1 through 4,
yeah.
which is not like it's not 4 games, it's 6.
Oh,
Or-
really?
yeah, it's
right.
6
There's like
games.
Brotherhood and stuff.
Yeah,
in between,
so
yeah.
like just to have like the whole like
Mhm.
fucking series just go like that on my shelf, and I mean
Yeah.
relatively speaking, because
Yeah.
they're flopping through
and
console generations,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you
And
know,
I've got like the Silent Hill,
yeah,
pretty much
exactly.
every Silent Hill release, and
So-
it looks great on a shelf.
Yeah,
And you
totally.
can just be like, look at, this is my, it's like, what is that term? It's just like, you're like your internet dick.
you're EPing.
Yeah.
You're EPing.
Yeah, so look at my shelf dick.
Yeah. Shelf dick. Solid oak, baby.
yeah. Yeah.
But that's for me it's kind of just like that's kind of my stipulation is if it's cheap.
Oh, he's almost got the giant? No, he just,
dude, aim
no.
for ankles, man.
Yeah, go for the
for
ankle.
the
Oh,
ankle.
no, you're
Shit.
done.
Oh,
Did you live?
he's good.
Still alive.
He's
Yeah,
good.
nice.
But,
Back up and heal.
But yeah, it's just
yeah.
I'd rather take a physical copy unless it's just like unless it's a game I know it's not physical, like digital only, or
Indie games.
indie games is the big thing with PS.
I think
with,
that's
like,
really the
PlayStation.
deciding factor.
Yeah, with PlayStation especially, because every month there's like some rad indie game that's just free. You
Oh.
know? Oh, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Press button. Wait.
I think it might be me.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So that's kind of where I stand. I always love to see stuff on my shelf, but you know, if I can't get it on my shelf, then it goes in my digital shelf. So.
Right, or if it's just easier for you to get it through digital means.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
like there's some older games I feel like say for like the N64, if you're looking for like Super Mario 64,
Yeah.
and I don't know how much copies of those go
I think they're
Or, like,
for
Nintendo,
now.
Nintendo's prices really don't waver, so it's probably like
Yeah.
$30 to $40 for a
Yeah.
physical one.
Oh yeah.
Or like a gold cartridge copy of Ocarina of Time or something
Oh,
like
I think
that.
those are closer to 60.
Yeah, like I don't
Well,
know.
but even so, like what
I
was
think it's still
one?
$25 on-
Earthbound recently came out digitally.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Earthbound's
The first
really
one,
hard
yeah.
to find, or it would cost you a bunch to
Yeah.
get a
Yeah.
copy.
Yeah, I think it's $250 for a physical copy of the SNES version of Earthbound. And I think it's $15? $14.99, and I think Super Mario 64 for the N64 Virtual Console is $25. They're like they don't have any diminishing value for some reason.
Yeah.
Because that's just Nintendo's like thing. They're just like, yeah, our games don't
This is the price.
devalue.
This
Yeah.
is what it is. Unless we have a sale.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So.
There are a couple SNES games like Street Fighter and things like that. That's third-party development, right?
Yeah.
And they go on for like $4.99 compared to like 10 or 7 or whatever they are.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think availability is one of the biggest things with digital, but overall, I'm just a physical copy guy.
Yep. That's
Time to get physical.
So yeah, I think
I would try to sing along, but I'm not sure.
And it would
how
it probably wouldn't
the
sync up.
would work.
I mean, I feel like you haven't been like that far off.
No.
You've been pretty good. Usually when I Skype with people in this town, it's just fucking like you're waiting like 2 seconds before anything.
You know what? I think the biggest thing is that we're like 10 feet away from our router.
That's also a possibility. But I mean, like I'm jacked in and it still fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So, but
Well, there was even the times where I'd watch, where I'd catch your streams, Johnny. and
Oh yeah. I don't stream
those
anymore
were-
because they're so awful.
Yeah.
Like they would cut out, and then, like the last time I tried to stream, it was like 12 minutes, and then it was like 2 minutes, and then it was like 1 minute, and I had like 20 videos in my like previous stream archive,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I'm done with
that
this.
that happens like every time I try
Yeah.
and stream.
Yeah, it's just it's not worth it to try and stream around here.
Yeah, it's
But-
unfortunate.
Very.
I tested the internet speed at the hotel I was at in Saskatoon this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like,
better than it is at.
oh dude, it was like
In a hotel at that.
it was 18 up and 10
Oh,
down or
God.
something like that, and I was like, just to go on speedtest.net and just see like the fucking needle go way higher than it normally does. There's something so
Oh my God.
satisfying about that.
Yeah.
It's just like
Look at my internet ping.
yeah, and to see it go like top out at 4
Yeah.
4 up and like 0.3 down, it just makes me fucking
Yeah.
sad. So
Yeah, we're in the point something, which is we're way below any average. out
yeah,
there.
no, any like acceptable average.
Yeah.
It's
It's yikes.
but I think we've mentioned that quite a few times.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
anyways.
And we'll probably continue mentioning it.
Yeah, it's bound to happen.
So, in all the closings, this is the final closing, I think. We'll do a plug for Nick's channel. I
Yes.
suggest you go check it out. There's going to be a link in the description below for Nick's channel, if you're okay with that, Nick.
Sure.
why
okay.
don't you tell us
You
a
know,
little
I'll
something?
even put you on the featured channels on the
Ooh,
side.
that's nice.
There you go.
Why don't you tell?
I think I've got you guys on.
Awesome.
Oh, cool.
Okay,
Well-
well, you're in the ranks
Yay.
then.
Why don't you hype your channel for a second here?
Yeah,
This.
faceless.
My channel. Well, so far it's mainly just a Let's Play channel, but what I've been thinking about doing for years
Years.
is looking at game design, and I'm hoping to get chugging on some scripts and actually get something out sometime.
Yeah.
But
Right on.
other than that, when I haven't been studying and when I have some time, I'll stream on YouTube, and then when I get around to editing, I'll put up videos from what I streamed or
Mm-hmm.
backlogs of stuff. So that's what my channel is right now.
That's me.
I'm hoping to make it, again, something a little more substantial with the series I have planned, but who knows? So that's what I do.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Just
Well,
playing games and thinking about them.
I remember when I came and visited you that one time, you were like, I have this idea for this, like review-esque show. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. Great. And then I've just been, like, the last 2 years, I've just been bugging, like, when the fuck are you going to put this
Yeah,
out?
I remember there was like a tweet I sent out like 2 and some years ago, and then you're like, dude, where's this script? Where's this video?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
am I
Where is
doing?
it?
I remember
Like,
that. I do distinctly remember
school,
that.
Man.
Yeah.
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 Hey, life gets in the way sometimes, but
Exactly.
I really appreciate you joining us, Nick.
Yes.
Really, thank you. If you have anything else to plug, go ahead. Twitter, whatever.
Let's see. I think on YouTube, search Reniculous, and that's RENIKULOUS. ULOUS.
Or click the
I
link in the
should
description.
show up.
Both.
It'll probably just be easier to find it in the description. I'm at Reniculous55 on Twitter. I have a Facebook for my channel, which is, again, Reniculous. Other than that, I guess just to catch up with your last two podcasts,
Yeah.
Dark Souls 3.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to play it until
You're done
I'm
this
at
Dark
least
yeah.
done the first one.
Good.
So
Yeah.
Dark Souls 1, I'm having fun with it now that I've picked it up again.
Good.
Good.
Like you guys said, it sometimes goes in phases where you'll start off and then you'll get your ass kicked and you'll be like, the fuck is this game? And then you'll
Yeah.
set it aside and then come back and you'll go through some more.
Yeah.
And then you'll get to another spot and it kind of cycles like that. But right now I'm at a place where I'm like, I think I kind of get how this game goes and I just have to just keep trying
Yeah,
over
just
and over
keep
again.
plugging away.
Well, I can tell you this much. You're at Sen's Fortress. The next thing is Anor Londo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get fucking ready, boy.
Get ready.
Because
What is it? Ornstein and Smo?
Ornstein and Smo.
Yeah.
Smo? Yeah.
Or if you want.
I've heard plenty of things about what I'm gonna be coming up
Yeah.
to next.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
to do your games through the years, I'm gonna
Power through some?
set this up.
All
yeah,
right.
I'm just gonna do a lightning round.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, starting at 88,
'Kay.
Tetris came out on the Atari.
Nice.
89, Super Mario Land for the Game Boy.
Good choice.
90, Super Mario World. 91, A Link to the Past, Legend of Zelda.
Hey, we
92, Kirby's Dream Land.
Oh.
93, Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. 94, Donkey Kong Country.
Yes.
Nice.
95, Street Hockey 95.
Fuck
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Rad.
96, Super Mario 64.
Good choice.
97, Diddy Kong Racing.
Oh.
98, Mario Party. 99, Pokemon Gold and Silver.
Nice.
And I guess it's an extension of that Crystal, but that came out a little
Yeah.
while late.
Yeah.
2000, RPG Maker 2000.
Oh,
nice.
Dude, good
Chad and I
memories.
spent
Good
so much time with that.
good memories with that game.
2001, Final Fantasy X, because I think
Great choice.
that was like the first Final Fantasy I actually played myself.
Right on.
And then I kind of like dabbled back in some. Like I played the original Final Fantasy,
Yeah.
but I want to get around to like
That's a
7.
yeah.
I've heard that 9's good. Like
Probably for
1's
me.
always been.
We had some good times with 12, didn't we?
Oh, 12 was great.
12
12 was the reason.
12 was all right.
12 was the reason me and Nick found Mega 64. So
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
have like
Yeah.
I'll always hold that in high regard.
Yeah.
Just for that reason alone.
2002, Mega Man Battle Network 3 for the Game Boy Advance, I believe it was.
Right on. That's a
Okay.
good one.
2003, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
Oh,
Again,
yeah.
a game that Chad and I played for hours. 2004, Samurai Warriors PS2. I played the hell out of that game. 2005, Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah. I'm glad that you played that and could have that when I couldn't because I only played the first boss in that game.
Yeah, that game is fucking awesome.
So great.
Yeah.
2006 actually is where I had Final Fantasy 12 because I guess even though I have some qualms with how it did, I guess it's like character, not so much like characters as story parts, but more like differentiating characters. It had something kind of like the Sphere Grid, but you could kind of build every character the same.
Yeah. Yeah, there
which
wasn't.
was, I don't know, that kind of turned me off.
The thing
from
that bothered
just
me the most
that.
with that was that there was no single main character. Like, you couldn't have, like, most of the Final Fantasy up until then had, okay, here's your main character, he's always in your party. Most of them.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
10 you could switch them out, but usually, Titus was in the ranks of your main characters, and with that game, it was just like, it doesn't really matter, you can just play as whoever.
Yeah, or like you'd have your characters and they'd be in classes,
Yeah.
but then this way, like you could build them all the same, and they could all have everything if you did a bunch of grinding, while previously there was either like classes, or with the sphere grid, there was things where you could like jump around in 10, which was sort of neat. Like if you wanted, you could have Auron, you know, sort of like your sort of like bruiser. If you wanted, you could like have him jump over to Yuna's line, but that would be like way later and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's what kind of turned me off with 12, and I don't think I ever finished it. 2007 Super Mario Galaxy.
I never played it, but I have it on my shelf.
What it did with the physics was neat. 2008 Braid.
Oh, good choice.
2009 Monster Hunter Tri.
Nice, yeah.
I played that on the Wii.
Yeah.
2010 Super Meat Boy. 2011 Dark Souls.
Nice.
Hey, that's a three-peat there.
2012 Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Ooh.
I'd never played Animal Crossing before, and
Is that a good one to
I think
start?
I picked it up last year. It's on 3DS, and it's just it's an entirely different experience from like a lot of what gaming sort of is looked at as. Like, oh, you're going around killing things, or, you know, it's an adventure. This was just kind of, you're chilling in a town and helping people out. 2013 Monster Hunter 4 for the 3DS.
Yeah.
I knew that was
Put
coming.
so much time into that. 2014 Smash 4.
Ooh.
Nice.
3DS and Wii U.
Yeah.
2015 Undertale, because that was a game that once I started playing it, I had to play it through all the different ways, and I kind of, like, I guess I found it kind of early-ish and got caught up in, like, the community that came out around it, but now it's ridiculous, and you can find all kinds of fan art, both great, not so great, and maybe disgusting.
And pornographic.
And 2016, what's come out so far and what I've played, I had a really good time with The Witness, and I know that it's a very divisive game, as I've heard. Like, I played through all of it. I think I only looked up one thing, and that was the area kind of in the desert portion of the island, where like the light reflecting.
Yeah,
And
that was like the one area that I really enjoyed, because I thought the puzzles were really cool in that spot.
Yeah, once I knew what to do there,
yeah,
those were neat, because you later have to use like water reflection.
Yeah, that's where
stuff.
that part got really cool for me. I
remember that's the only part
but
that I had to look up, and like it was almost like learning a different language and then having challenges about it thrown at you.
Yeah.
But I remember texting you, Zach, and it being like, yeah, I ended up looking at a walkthrough for like the last however much, because I wanted to see what it was about, but I couldn't stand
the thing with that is, like, I felt like I got so burned on how vague some of the stuff was presented to you, and specifically the puzzles with the triangles, you know, where you have to kind of like cut out.
Oh yeah.
Because that was the one part where it was just like, I did it right, but I still didn't get it, and I felt like that happened more, like, too often for my caring. And like I looked up a lot of the walkthrough on how to do it and stuff, and like the way that they actually explain it, like some of it is, you know, cool, like the greenhouse area where you have to look through the glass to actually see what the colors actually are, you know, because you look at them and they're like a certain color, and then you look through that and you see what they actually are. You gotta kind of make the puzzle that way.
Well, see, I've got through that area. I don't remember actually looking through the glass. I just remember there was one puzzle I got to, and I just kind of like categorized the colors in a way that made sense to me, and that worked. Yeah. But then, later, the elevator puzzle does that thing with like changing the different light, and it changes the colors of the blocks.
Yeah.
But did you play The Witness at all, Johnny? Or?
I didn't know. I was really interested in it, and then I watched a few things on Twitch, and it was really big on Twitch for a while there. Then I talked to Zach about it, and he kind of expressed these views where it to me it sounds like it would be something that I'd be into because I like puzzle games and I like things like that. But I don't know how in depth I'd go with it. I feel like I'd play for a couple hours and then maybe put it down, pick it up a couple days later and play for an extra couple hours. And I never really complete it, but just experience it and, possibly enjoy it. I'm not sure, but I have been interested in it. And maybe if it goes on sale, probably sometime soon. Because I think it was $40 on release or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that kind of turned me off in the first place. Because if it was just like an indie game where it's maybe like 19 or 15 or whatever, yeah, sure.
Right.
But this was like a really big indie game. And obviously it had a big budget and everything. But, if it goes on sale sometime and someone notifies me, then yeah, sure, I'll probably pick it up and try it out. But
yeah. I could probably go into a whole another video just talking about... Because I got like all my notes in my notebook, but suffice to say...
it does that.
it just wasn't really for me in the end, so... But, I'm glad you enjoyed it at least, so...
Yeah, like, just to plug it a little bit, it teaches you things by, like, there's, like, I guess the controls are just kind of shown to you at the beginning, like, how to move around and how to interact with the panels. But the rest of it is told to you, like, wordlessly.
Yeah.
And in that way, I describe it as like tickling a certain part of my brain, like it's kind of a logical thing, I guess, because it gives you little sections where it'll show you a rule and how it works, and then you'll run into the same like signifiers of a rule later, but they're stacked on with other rules.
Yeah.
So then you kind of have to do a mental gymnastics to like find your way around.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of line puzzles too.
Yeah.
But actually, like, talking about completing it, I finished it. But then the island itself is like a puzzle, and you can find trails in like the nature of it too.
Yeah.
So it almost goes like to another level. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I don't know, I might go back to it sometime to poke around, but
yeah, we should have a discussion about that game at some point. You should try it out.
Okay,
we'll talk about it.
Maybe we'll do a podcast about it.
Because you know what, as much as it wasn't for me, it's still something I wouldn't mind discussing, and it's definitely something I know at least you could talk quite a bit about. I could talk about a bit, but I mean, yeah, it's something that we could definitely do like a long form thing on. So
right on.
I think maybe we'll just keep it at that for now.
Okay.
But
yeah.
So
right on. Well, are we ready to cut it here?
Of the podcast.
Oh
yes,
that's true.
Hey, you reminded me.
You know what?
Hey, that's my criticism. I forgot the criticism.
That's a good point. What is my criticism of this podcast?
I think this one went pretty well. We got a little off topic a couple of times, but we didn't really have a solid list of what we were going through this time.
Yeah.
Like our other
well,
podcasts.
the last two is kind of like Dark Souls. You talk about
Dark Souls.
The last one is just like, hey, every fucking year since 1988.
This one was a little freeform.
This was pretty freeform. That's okay.
Yeah.
I think it was still enjoyable overall.
Yeah.
So, what is my criticism though?
We weren't playing the same game. That's my criticism.
That's a good criticism. Here's my criticism. I still don't know how to do the fucking targeting reticle thing with, with the Yoshi eggs and stuff. That's
I'm pretty
the one
sure
thing.
it's X. I think.
Okay.
I think. I don't know.
Because we
doesn't
played.
it kind of go like back and forth, sort of, in these Yoshi games?
Yeah, you can lock on, but it's still like
The thing is, I couldn't remember. I did it like a couple times. Couldn't remember what the button was to actually like activate that. So That's probably my number one criticism of this podcast. So.
How about yours, Nick?
What's your criticism?
Mine, I would want to make sure that I have my camera fully charged.
That's a fair point. You got a good angle going on right now.
It was,
though.
Yeah. I just realized that I was just leaving my guy standing there, so I might as well do some cinematic shots. But also maybe do some testing myself and figure out if I can't stop it from automatically turning off, even though I'm sure I had that option turned off when we started.
Yeah.
That's a good criticism.
Other than that, I don't know. I felt like I was told that this was going to be more, like a little more freeform.
Yeah.
Just because I guess there's only so much you can say about physical and digital distribution without like being directly involved in like making a game at all.
There's only so much
like,
you can say before.
From a consumer standpoint.
There's only so much you can say before you start talking in circles. So
exactly.
Yeah.
But we went for almost like 2 hours already. So.
Yeah, this is pretty damn good.
I mean, even with the asides, I think we did pretty good today. So
yeah,
and the asides were even fun little discussions themselves, and it's been great chilling with you guys.
Well,
I hope this can become a regular thing.
Absolutely.
I hope so too.
I hope the audience agrees as well on all the points mentioned.
And you know what? maybe the view count hasn't been super high, but I think they've been at least well received, because within the first couple days they've been like, they've done probably triple normal my videos, my normal videos. So I hope that people are watching, listening, whatever they might do.
It's just a few schmucks and some beers talking about games, you know.
Yep.
And if people dig it, I'm happy to continue. So.
Ditto.
All right.
Wait a minute.
Oh, what's going on? Oh, we have to do some sort of.
Wait, can I jump off? No, I can't.
There's no jumping off cliffs in this game. Oh, we can run faster by holding down B.
Okay, because goodbye.
Oh, I have to click and like.
Okay. Oh, you're saying goodbye now?
Yeah. Bye.
We're still on.
I thought you'd be like on for long.
Double ending.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah.
Wait, are we still going?
I'm at my girlfriend's place, and we have friends over here right now, and they've just come to mess with me.
Okay.
Like, she was bringing her cat to attack me before, but
she didn't
now
realize.
they're down here.
All
and they were thinking maybe we'd go on longer so that they could mess with me more.
Too bad.
Well, for your sake, let's end it here.
Yeah.
Smell you later.
Peace.
Stay rad.